writer this afternoon is an old student friend of mine. And I'm very happy to be here to introduce this session for him. I've seen him grow as a writer and grow. I've done alongside him. And it's really satisfying to see over the years really young writers mature into somewhat more sure-footed. Francis is at a point where I think, give a few more years, he will hit a stride. At this point, it's a matter of still securing his footing in terms of material and treatment, but he's surely getting there. I suppose I'm here because I write realist short stories myself. In fact, to begin on a somewhat personal note, plug, I will be, in about a month, I will be launching my own collected stories here at Vanderbilt. And in the very short preface that I put before those 43 stories, and I'll read just a snippet of it. I said that while creative nonfiction occupies most of my time in retirement, mainly for a living, nothing exhilarates me more than writing fiction. Not the novel for which I never mustered anything resembling affection, but the short story, which I find both exacting and exciting in its compactness. I've lately often argued that the best antidote to fake news is true fiction, because only fiction, not even journalism, has the power to draw us out of ourselves, out of the present, into that chill place where honesty resides. Fiction redeems and saves the writer as much as it exalts the reader. And that realization has been the personal reward of my work for these past 40 years. Now, in the story that we will be taking up shortly, we see clear evidence of Francis stepping out of himself and seeing what it's like to do that in fiction, which again is to me really the best medium for that sort of attack. Poetry tends to be intensely and inescapably personal. But in fiction you can, and in some ways must, abandon yourself so that you can represent a much broader and yet at the same time still an intimate reality. Now with the material, with the story that we have before us this afternoon, A Window on the World, we're really confronting some of the most basic questions that writers have to face, which is what am I going to write about, and how am I going to go about it? How am I going to go about writing what I want to write about? So it's a choice of material and treatment. In this particular case, Francis has chosen to write about the lives of two sisters, Janine and Maya, who seem trapped at a certain point in their lives, in their own ways. Janine can't seem to hold a job. Maya seeks approval. affirmation of some kind, and seems to be finding it in a promotion slash show of interest from her boss, although we don't know at this point whether that is sincere or will lead to truly anything worthwhile. The sisters seem still beset by the trauma of losing their OFW mother in the World Trade Center tragedy in New York. So there's this thing about going abroad and flying that haunts them. But in the end, it's flight that they literally resort to. And from that vantage point in the air, we are given literally that window on the world that brings us back to the Bible. Now, there's a couple of ways, of course, in which we can discuss Francis's work here. First, of course, in terms of the broad strokes of his ambitions and his methods, his approach to storytelling, and the second, to get this isn't really our business in this workshop, but to get a bit technical and see how or if he's able to pull that off in this particular piece. Because, again, not to jump the gun too much, but just to kind of roil the waters a bit, I will contend that this is a story on its way to becoming a story. That things have just begun. And I'll expound on that in a minute. So one of the points I'd like to establish is where we are exactly in the lives of these two women and where we can go from there. How do we push fiction to its bleeding edge? Right? So with that, I'll turn you over to Francis.
Thank you so much. I'll give a brief presentation so we can then proceed to the comments. So good afternoon, everyone. Following Sir Roland's suggestion yesterday, I will forgo talking about the poetics essay. It's already included in the workshop kit, and I trust that you've read it. Instead, I'll talk briefly about the book project that I'm working on, Men of a Certain Age, where the story Window on the World is included. No? Although I've already talked in the poetics essay about the genesis of the book project, and that includes the story The Window on the World, I haven't really gone into what the eventual project would look like. For now, I envision the collection Men of a Certain Age to be around 10 to 12 stories, neatly divided into two halves. The first half will center on male protagonists, while the other half on female protagonists. Now, admittedly, this is a very arbitrary design, and I'm doing it now to help me sort of organize the story in my head, no? And I may or may not eventually commit to it, but that's the idea that I'm working with, no? In this instance. Next slide. So the stories that make up the first half of the collection are mostly finished and have been published or already been picked up for publication in anthologies and magazines. So, for example, the title story Men of a Certain Age is awaiting publication. No? It's about a young couple on a supposedly romantic trip to Baguio that turns sideways when they discover that they are pregnant. Another story entitled Economies of Scale, which was published in the UST Literary Journal. Yeah, sorry, Moji. It's about an obsessive young man stalking a woman he used to date. Also included in this half of the collection is the story Pigs, which won the second place pa lang last year. No? So na-meet ko doon si Paul and si Ron. Puro kami second placers now that I realize it. The stories in the first half of the collection, aside from being fronted by male protagonists, are also more or less traditional short stories in terms of structure and length. This is probably because most of these stories were either written for an MA creative writing class, or I was trying to respond to a particular story. For example, Pigs is a response to Umping Negro by Remy Sigan. In terms of themes, the stories in this half more or less problematize how Filipino patriarchal society dictates how men should feel about and act during filial, social, and even romantic situations, often forsaking how everyone else feels. So for example, in the title story of the collection, the protagonist flee or propose response to the news that his girlfriend is pregnant completely ignores the possibility that she might not even want to keep the baby or even stay in a relationship with him, which is, how the story resolves, no? Next slide, please. Window on the World belongs to this other half of the collection. So these stories feature female protagonists struggling under the invisible trappings of Filipino patriarchy. Aside from Window on the World, this half of the collection has the story Commencement, which centers on a high school reunion in which the mystery of a missing classmate unfolds within nested narratives. Another story, Snippets, juxtaposes violence in everyday conversation in media and into the consciousness of the female protagonist who herself eventually participates in said conversations. This also in this half is also included a novella in progress called A Blissful Era, which I started in the very first workshop class, graduate workshop class I took under Sir Butch. No? I don't know if he remembers this story, no? But it centers around 3 characters, a married couple, and their acquaintance, all of whom are obsessed with a friend from childhood. No? All of these stories try to look at the systemic violence experienced by women. So this includes loss of filial stability, loss of the family, the violence of language and political commentary, and the breakdown of social bonds. Furthermore, unlike the stories in the first half, the stories here play around with structure by using fragmented narratives, multiple points of views, and other metafictive techniques. This, of course, is not evident in Window on the World, and I'll explain why. When I first started writing this story, the idea was that I would be cross-cutting scenes between then the lone protagonist, Maya, at work in her office, and scenes of the protagonist's mother working too, in the restaurant. And the cross-cutting would eventually reveal that the two scenes are happening years apart, and that the mother is actually lost in the 9/11 attacks. But as I started writing the story, I rethought it, or what I decided against writing the mother's scenes, because the revelation of the time difference and the fate of the mother felt cheap. So I was like sensationalizing it. Second, I had noticed that many of the stories I was writing for this half of the collection was about the workplace, or to be more precise, women in the workplace. So I created Janine, the seemingly irresponsible younger sister, to provide conflict in the story. And so the drama of the story as it stands now is about Maya's fear of flying, Janine's desire to travel, and follow in their mother's footsteps. Although in hindsight, nandun pa rin pala yung workplace, in the story. I'm not sure how well this is all conveyed in this draft, and I feel that the story really needs more space to breathe and deepen, as some people have already suggested. And that's probably, it's just Gabby now who said that. I'm hoping that the workshop this afternoon might provide me with guidance. So next time, for example, are the motivations of the protagonist clear and differentiated enough? Is the inclusion of an inter-office romance between Maya and her new boss undercutting the theme of the story? And then finally, does Janine and Maya's turn in the story, the kanilang reversals, no? Or yung kanilang change, no? Work? Or is it too sudden and unmotivated, no? So, thank you and good afternoon.
All right, with that, we will open the floor to responses from the staff and fellows. Yes, Ron.
So Francis and I met at the Palapa. We were sitting at the same table. So when I read his first book, and he sent me his Palapa reading essay. So I read his first book, his book of short stories. I loved it. I finished it in less than a week. So they're very good stories. Now, when I first read this story, what I actually felt was this was a safe story. It was very tame compared to parang hinanap ko yung risk, yung adventure ng first book. In the first book, there was a threesome, the pigs was about a murderous child. In here, the story felt very safe. Now when you were discussing the contents of the book, I don't know if it's just me, but your dichotomy of female protagonist, male protagonist is a dangerous one, especially in this time. So you might want to rethink that. Na medyo mahirap yung dichotomy. Now with regard to that, and then when I read this, your poetics, you said something about strong women. Unfortunately, when I read about the inter-office romance, I don't actually think that Maya should strengthen there. I was hoping for the part where Maya would confront na, pinromote mo ba ako dahil lang may gusto ka sa akin? That's actually missing. So it would have been interesting if she actually confronted the boss, and I think that would have created more tension. Otherwise, he just smiled, across the browser window, and I don't think this helps in the Me Too narrative. That's what I'm reading here. I don't think it helps in the Me Too narrative. It might actually be detrimental, because this reinforces the belief that, total, pinromote naman ako, why don't I entertain this relationship? And that's how I read it. But I also thought that the mother working, I think, medyo naging flat sa akin yung inisang one. Maganda yung na she died, and that's why they were afraid of flying. But I was looking for that. What was it like when the mother was working? Were they talking? Were they writing? What are the bits and pieces they remember? Those were the things I was looking for. But I enjoyed the story. I finished reading it. But as I said, this felt very safe. And I thought that your other stories were much better.
By the way, to you two guys, second place is not bad. Like 6 second places. Most of them took one guy named Gregory Antis. Who else? Next. Oh, Charleston. Salita.
Hindi, lagi na akong tayo.
Kita niyo?
May malaking premise kasi, story, and that's 9/11. That's a big thing that has happened. And I think there's an attempt to write everything else around that big event. It can't be just that only, because it's not just any accident in New York. Kasi pwedeng namatay yung mother crossing the street. Pero the mother dies in this huge tragedy that affected the world, that created the war in Iraq and everything. Diba? So I'm looking for that. Bakit mo pinatay yung nanay dun sa World Trade Center sa 9/11? Tapos, anong kinalaman dun sa buhay nila? Right? It's windows to the world, so it changed the world. You know, that it really changed the world in many ways. And so you are looking at the world, a window to the world, through that thing that you event. So all these relationships must have something to do with that. Kasi yun ang nasa binigay niyo. So I'm looking for that. Bakit mo natay nanay doon, 9/11? Ano kaya?
I have to compliment Francis Napala for getting the preposition right. his window on the world. Which happens to be, for those, just a few of you who may not know, happen to be the Club Floor Restaurant's World Trade Centers. Kaya, tama din si Charleston dyan. You can't just throw a big detail like that there and expect it to loom like some big icon something. Kaya mo ginagamit yan kasi may resonance yan. May reflection yan doon sa domestic situation ng dalawa eh. It doesn't have to be anything geopolitical, pero dapat may connect yan at some point, which is why, and I'll go into this mamaya, pero yung, I'm looking at the unwritten second half ahead of what happens here. Next. Jing, and then Sarah, and then me.
I'm going to respond to something that Ron said. That in your poetics you mentioned that you were fascinated by strong women. You didn't see the strength in sino ba? Maya ba or Janine? Maya.
Si Janine medyo bata eh.
Was coming on to her. I don't see that, kasi the two are trapped, no? I think the situation of the two girls is that they are trapped. And when the story ends, they are still trapped. I don't see that as necessarily, the story doesn't have to show the triumph of the protagonists. I noticed it also in the discussion of the poem by R.R. Parang the ones commenting seem to be requiring that for the story to succeed, the poem to succeed, it had to show the triumph, some kind of, parang it will have a happy ending of some kind of ray of hope for the lumpen who were the subject of the poem. But I don't see that necessarily makes the work a failure. Because the work is describing a situation that exists. Like here, women are trapped in this way. Many women are. And they don't have to, for the story to be a good one, they don't have to escape the trap. It is enough that you show the trap, I think. The message may be something else. In fact, if you force the happy ending, and I'm using happy in a broad sense, that may be a failure in the story. You're forcing a romantic note that the writer may not have wanted to show. Maybe the intention of the writer is just to show the trap. And that these girls trying to escape it are not going to escape it at all. And maybe that has something to what I wanted to tie up with, is the mother. The mother is mentioned not just once in the story. I agree that I don't think she should have been killed in 9/11 because then you raise a whole lot of other expectations, but that she should have died herself. Like, why did she leave? I guess she was also trapped, and that was her way out, right? And then, obviously, she did not succeed because she died. And then these two girls are, to a certain extent, going to repeat her journey. They think that the solution or the escape is to go to Korea in this case, which I find rather ironic. How is Korea ever going to be the solution? So I'm okay with that. I don't think I'm bothered by that. What I don't know though is what indeed it's trying to say beyond that they are trapped. What is the other insight of this I'm looking for that.
Just a minute, Sarah, okay? Before we go into that. But Jing, I think that's precisely the challenge that Francis here is assuming, technically or politically. What he wants is to find for these two people that which everyone wants, which is freedom and happiness. How can you engineer that within this story in a plausible way? In fact, I will raise the stakes further. stick with the Korea detour. What can possibly happen in Korea that will lead them to a point of realizing that, hey, we can be free, we can be happy, and that is something for you to solve. But this is where the fun part of fiction really comes in. When you press to the goal and you're looking for a way out, which is not obvious to anyone. Okay, kasi kung obvious yan, di ba rin na? Diba? I always tell my students, always forego the easy option because everybody else is going to do that. Isipin mo ngayon, dinala mo na si Korea, ano ngayon? Ando sila naglalakad sa shopping sa Dongdaemun. Anong mangyayari dyan para nga ma-trigger itong moment of insight ng kanilang kalayaan. Hindi naman necessarily happy ending yan. Pero konting bubuksan mo lang yung bintana ng kaunti. And you know that when they fly back to Manila, and the boyfriend Kuno is there to meet them at the airport, something different is going to happen.
So they don't have to escape the trap.
I think 100%. But they just have to see a way out, which it now will be up to them to take.
But the way out could be deceptive.
Well, it's going to have to be a real way out. Pero it's going to happen in their minds. It's going to be a form of mental release from all of these hang-ups.
But that isn't obvious here.
No. Kaya nga sinasabi ko, hindi pa tapos yan. Para sa akin, that's like, and here I'll go into my little screen about the problem that I see with a lot of contemporary fiction. And Francis has heard the sermon a dozen times. Young writers are very good at setups, at depicting scenes. Ang gagaling nyo dyan mag-depict ng kahirapan, ng kawalan ng kalayaan, mga ganyan. Yung mga muni-muni scene at ano. Tapos maputulin nyo na doon. You walk away from the problem that you set up. Parang sinasabi nyo, okay na yan, pinakita ko na, problematic ng tao. But you do not take responsibility for the rut that you put your characters into. You walk away. Kaya nga ito, sinet up mo na yan, nasa aeroplano na sila, ano ngayon? Tell me what's going to happen 3 days after they land. You should be able to see that. Kaya ang challenge ng pagsusulat. Paano naggagawa yung mga nobela kung hindi talagang tinututukan yung problema ng mga tao? This is still just a setup for me. It's begging a resolution. Let's go to Sarah and then me.
Francis. So I'm all for Korea, but I think I'm not convinced that it's logical right now. So wala siyang trabaho, pero ang solusyon niya, kukorea ako. So parang hindi siya logical step for me. Hindi rin logical for me yung transformation ni Kevin from a sexual predator to a perfect boyfriend. Parang may jump doon na kailangan ko na. But yung parang main comment ko is about the male characters. And they're pretty awful, all of them. I mean, even the guy from McDonald's who just did a thumbs up, parang wala siyang role. Yung manager, yung dad na absentee, and Kevin, of course. So, I know yung sa Me Too movement, okay naman for women, no? And this seems to be that kind of project. Pero I don't think it should be at the expense of men. And baka mas magandang, mas nuanced yung, I mean, not all the male characters, but some.
Good afternoon, sir. So for me naman, ang comment ko is it started a little bit slow. And then eventually it turned fast-paced. Maganda, but at a certain point, nagkaroon lang siya na parang one emotion is just starting to build up, only to be stopped kasi nga may change ng scene. Parang, the other scene is for another character. So, si Maya and then si Janine. And then yun, agree ako kay Sir Charleston dun sa 9/11 changed their world. However, emotions fell flat. And then, merong mga montage siya, parang na-imagine ko na siya as a movie kasi yung shifting ng scene from looking for a scholarship and then Maya said she was promoted and then suddenly they're flying already. Parang mga ganun. Medyo mabilisan. But I have to commend yung characterization ni Janine and ni Maya. Sobrang nagustuhan ko sila pareho. They agree to disagree. Parang they are imperfect, pero I can relate to them. And then, good grasp of the English language. Thank you.
Yung tinitingnan ko yung structure, meron namang team, diaspora. Tapos yung kanyang structure, split screen, parang short film eh. So merong tatlong babae, character sketch. Yung pacing, ito yung nasa opisina, tapos ito yung sa fast food o sa bahay. Nagkaklase lang ganun eh. Pagkatapos, dumating yung nanay. So, ganun pa rin eh. Ngayon, inisip ko towards the end, kung split screen yan, towards the end, magbabanggaan yung dalawang screen, magkakaroon ng conflict, na yung dulo mauwi sa Korea. Ngayon, hindi ako ready kung paano nakarating agad sa Korea. So siguro iniisip ko, ang dami nila eh, sibling rivalry ba yan? Yung grief ng loss of mother ba yan? Hindi ko alam kung ano yung nire-resolve. Dahil hindi naman maliwanag sa akin kung ano yung nire-resolve at kung ba't bigla silang yung ganong kaliit na issue, hindi naman yun ang unang usapan, kundi yung class of personality yan. Eh dahil lang sa maliit na issue na yung pagtatangkaan ng boss, eh magkaibigan na agad sila. At yung isa naman nakakuha lang ng scholarship, ay tatakot na sila. So palagay ko merong isang conflict na yung dapat magbangga para yung at sino ba mahabol sa'yo? Ba't ba sa dami-dami ng bansa, pwede ka namang lumipat lang from Makati, punta ka ng Cubao. O from McDo, lumipat ka ng Jollibee. Yung mga gano'n. So hinahanap ko ano yung what compelling reason na magsasabi sa'yo ng of so many places doon ka pumunta. And of course, pagdating doon, hahanapin ko rin yung ngayon kung napunta ka doon. Tapos, yung window o yung title mismo, hindi ko naman nakita yun sa una eh. Kaya nung biglang dumating na yun yung ending, parang too abrupt, hindi pa ako ready. Kasi hindi pa naman nadidevelop talaga yung siguro makikita ko yun yung nanay na umalis, o yun yung window. Siguro yung isang kapatid na want to follow abroad, another window. Or iba, basta may mga windows akong makikita, para pag nag-conclude ka, ito yung team. Maintindihan ko, ay, naghahanap sila ng diasporic space. And then, siguro, magiging buo yung tingin ko.
Yung pinapansin ko lang ay yung kapatid, yung mas batang kapatid, na hindi makatagal sa trabahong fast food. Siguro, palipat-lipat yan sa iba't ibang mga fast food, ano? Yung huli nga ay parang ipag-away siya sa customer. So parang yung projection doon sa character na yun, parang parang pakiramdam niya hindi siya babagay sa ganung klaseng trabaho. Hindi siya nabubog para tanggapin yung kalagayan ng ganung trabaho. Dahil alam naman natin, diba, sa mga contractor na manggagawa, yung palipat-lipat, papalit-palit, nakakatagal naman sila siguro ng 6 o 5 buwan doon sa kanilang trabaho, tapos ilipat na naman iba. Na siguro gaya sa kanilang background, sabihin, yung kanilang pinag-aralan, tuturuan sila na gano'n yung kanilang paraan kung paano magtrabaho sa ganung konteksto. Ngayon, hindi ko maintindihan kung ano yung background talaga nung mas batang kapatid, ano? Tapos, meron pa siyang parang scholarships na iniisip, ano? Na parang malayo sa isip ng ibang mga contractual fast food workers. Ano?
Background niya.
So gusto ko makita ano yung pinanggagalingan nung ganong klaseng, obviously she aspires for much more than those kinds of jobs. Pero where is that coming from? Ano? Where is this discontent or lack of fit coming from? Whereas yung karamihan naman, the vast majority ng mga contractual workers, they're beaten down by the educational system to accept their fates. Pero dito, parang iba yung kanyang kalagayan. Parang, nasabi nga, di ba, yung mga taga-UP, ayaw na masyado kunin ng mga employer yan eh. Maangal eh. Maangas. Di ba? Hindi na matanggap yung... Ikaw So, ano yung background nun, kumbaga? Tapos yung kapatid niya ay, yun nga, ganun din kaiba sa kanya. And also, one last observation. Napaka-weak naman ng lalaki na yun, yung Kevin na yun. Parang it's like, he's so pale and characterless, nung Kevin. To the point that you hate him for being so characterless. No? So parang, yun nga, malakas yung mga, pwedeng malakas ang tingin sa mga babae. No? Pero yung kahit sa isang lalaki na may role na medyo substantial, parang he's so faded. No? And he doesn't even have any strength at all in that narrative. Anything could happen to him because wala siyang force. Di ba? So, yun lang yung mga ganong aspects of this logic. Of course, pwede na rin sa Korea. No? So probably that, eventually. Maganda rin yung pag-isipan. Ako nga, gusto ko mabasa yung part na yun, nasa Korea sila.
Sequel pa.
Isang point lang tungkol sa pagkakarakterize. Ang sarili kong approach kasi dito, kung nagsusulat ka ng fiction, huwag mong isipin what will character A represent, what will character B represent. Siguradong kahoy yung lalabas dyan. Just make them move, motivate them as living, breathing characters with their own interests, their own peculiarities and pettiness. And bahala, at dilitaw, may kakatawan hindi niyan. Pero pagka simula pa lang, meron pa ng political na agenda na ito magiging, ito will stand for this, will stand for that. Ay nako, talagang pasang-basa yan. Ano? Nalitaw yan. Kung happy ka doon, maybe success ka. Pero generally, pangit ang kalalabasan niya. New.
The larger project seems to be to have equal number of stories about women and about men. So there must be some sexual politics involved, or that's a consideration that we have. And that might explain the weakness of the depiction of the man in the story. I wonder if it's possible to actually be more even-handed in sort of like depicting the men, even in those stories that are actually centrally about women. Maybe your male characters don't have to be so weak or so faded in relation to the women. It's clear to me that this is the death of the mother has affected these two daughters, and she's the central sort of absence that's defining more or less the lives of these two characters right now. And it's also clear to me that there's maybe some statement you're trying to make regarding how big events determine little lives. No? So that's a big global event, right? And how it actually did affect lives on a micro level. And you sort of like identify these two random characters in a manner of speaking, and how interesting it is to actually see how a global event like that resonated on the micro level. I think that there is a journey motive here, or a kind of parang film to parang road film or road movie. But the transformation is really an inner journey, I think. And that's, I think, I agree with Butch that nothing major really has to happen, but just one little moment when there's a change in consciousness. No? And just finally going to ask the question of whose story is this anyway? Kasi parang equal measure, Janine and Maya, I'm inclined to sort of privileging one over the other. And in the rewriting of it, probably it's just going to be Maya's story, in my opinion. And Janine will be the one who will be instrumental in changing the way Maya thinks. And I think I want Maya to be the one to have the realization rather than Janine, because Janine, ironically, despite being younger, seems to be more sure of what she wants, despite actually seeming like she's lost. But she seems to be more, she has clearer awareness of who she is. It's Maya who seems to be not perfectly reconciled with the death of the mother. And I think because she's older, she's had to bear more responsibilities. And it's probably, she's the one who needs to have an epiphany, in my opinion. So it's, I don't know, it's a technical point that I only realized just reading the story again, that I would like only one person to bear the epiphany, not two. And that the effect might actually be stronger rather than having these two characters bear their own epiphanies. Para medyo masyadong clear yung sexual politics that way. Story of women, right? 3 women and they're united, you know, and just one would be enough. And I think that would be a kind of metaphor, you know, for the story of many women.
That's a good point to consider. You know, in these setups, 2-person stories, like 2-person plays, very, very difficult to pull off.
The discipline and depth watch.
And nagiging ping pong yan usually. Yeah. And things get blurred somewhere. Kaya maganda na yung isa pang main character at parang enabler yung isa pa. You know, pwedeng 60-40 ganyan, pero may nangingibabaw pa rin na isang character dyan. Otherwise talaga, mafa-force to good ka dyan sa ka-even-handed mo. Kaya mag-AB-AB ka ngayon dyan.
I think I would like Janine to teach Maya a lesson, in a way. Because that's where it's going to go. I mean, that Janine, who is doing this sort of seemingly reckless thing of going to Korea, is actually going to teach her older sister a lesson in how to live.
Oo, yung more stable character ang i-accept ko.
Oo, yun, dapat, oo. Yun na nakita ko. I want her to bear the epiphany Maya rather than Janine. And I like, in the end, Janine to have fun. Because she seems to have had a rotten end.
She deserves a break.
Oh, she deserves a break. So she should actually have some really crazy adventure, and then the sister realizes life is all about, I mean, in the end, living in the moment, right? Rather than worrying too much. Yeah.
Like one of them gets lost in soul.
Yes, yeah. Something interesting can happen. Oh. And I almost see it cinematically, which it can be a nice story of sisters talaga. And then, yeah, it becomes, a film. Yeah.
Diyan talaga matitest yung sensitivity ni Francis to how women think and how they play off of each other. Kasi it's so easy to lose that momentum. Isang false note dyan. Sira na yung... Yes, Jim.
This story is not yet, parang halfway through pa lang siya, no? That's the impression I get. Pero ang haba-haba na siya. Di ba, are you considering making it a really longer thing? Like a really long short story, possibly even a novel?
Actually, ma'am, when I wrote it initially, I was just thinking of it as like a 4 or 5 page story. But as I kept on writing it, lumalaki na siya na lumalaki. And then parang when I reached the point where they were on the airplane, kailangan na magsabit ng pieces. So, natapos yung story na sa plane. So, it is the most problematic story in the collection because I haven't really figured out what I really want to say with this story. Kaya siya yung nilagay ko dito kasi to get everyone's take on it.
Ang mangyayari niya, Francis, you have to write 10-15 pages more. And then you're going to take another look at where you begin. You start cutting down. It's a simula. Once you discover talaga what it's going to be about, ang di tama kung ano yung extremes. Lalo na.
Tapusin ko lang yun talaga. Kasi kung pupunta talaga sila sa Korea or wherever, pwede mo iwan Korea.
It's popular. It's a popular destination.
Kumakain mo ako ng kimchi rice.
Mahaba na naman eh.
It's just random. It's just a random choice.
Taiwan mo lang, hindi ka ng visa. Oh, Taiwan is logical. Kasi no visa dito. So equally yun eh.
And then one is going to have an adventure, the other one is going to get an epiphany or whatever. Talagang mahaba. Kasi ito mahaba na eh. So, I guess that's...
Pero maganda yung ganyan sugal, Jing.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Exciting yan, lalo na may personal interest si Francis doon sa kultura ng lugar. Pwede niyang paglaruan yan eh, at least mag-nuance niya yan. Kesa kung dinala niya sa iba pang ano. Kaya, ito talaga yung mga gambles that writers take a sudden detour. Sige, tingnan natin kung saan pupunta ito. Maybe it could lead to a dead end. We've been in lots of those dead ends. Pero,
and if you're going to bring in the male characters,
Luna, tapos si
hindi sila masyadong magkaiba. Kung medyo pasaway ang characterization ni Janine, yung madalas magando, parang gusto kong makita yung epekto, yung pagpalipat-lipat niya ng trabaho, at saka yung mas lively siya na uri ng tauhan is sa kanyang kapatid. Meron din siyang yung aspiration nila, middle class, meron siyang, yung gusto kong sundan yung nangangarap siya ng scholarship, pero yung tunay nilang kalagayan ay, actually mahirap sila eh, kasi ang napansin ko rin dito yung pagtatabi ng imagery ng basurahan. Hindi ko alam kung napapansin yun, Francis, si Ace na naglalabas ng basura mula sa fast food, yung basura ng dalawang magkapatid sa loob ng kanilang apartment, yung mess, yung domestic mess ng magkapatid na ito. Meron pa siyang ibang gustong ipahiwatig dun sa mess na yun. Ito na yung isa pa. Page 52. Third paragraph doon. Remember had Janine when Maya was 10, during a 2-year gap from working overseas. Natanong ko bigla dito, so iba ba ang tatay ng dalawang magkapatid? Ewan ko kung bakit biglang pumasok yun. Siguro yung kalagayan din ng pagtatrabaho sa labas ng bansa. Hindi rin naman, mukhang hindi rin naman masaya ang relasyon ng nanay ng magkapatid na ito sa ama nila. Kasi parang kung gray yung presence ni Kevin, gray din yung tatay. Multo siya eh, walang presensya dun sa dalawang magkapatid. Na kung may absence-presence play ng mga magulang dito, maganda rin yung pag-isipan yung absence and presence of the father dun sa dalawang magkapatid. At partly meron din silang daddy issues, lalo na si Maya, sa tingin ko, na hindi niya ma-express na yung precisely yung sinasabi ni Ron kanina na yung dapat hinirit na niya. Pero hindi niya ginagawa dun sa maikling kwento. Siguro, maintindihan naman din natin dahil sa konteksto ng ganang uri ng trabaho. Parang hirap magpahiwatig ng naasar ka na eh, pero kailangan makisakay ka dun sa palakad ng ganoong dynamics. Si Murakami ay may proyekto na Men Without Women at puro siya kwento ng mga lalaki na may mga wounds sa kanilang mga buhay. Iniisip ko kung sa halip na gawin mong dichotomous na babae, lalaki, o anumang order ang mapili mo, pumili ka lang ng isang sexuality, kung lalaki ba yan o babae. Kasi marireflect pa rin naman eh kung ano yung palagay mo dun sa kabilang kasabihan mo.
Ayan, yung full disclosure, no, yung thesis na sinasabi ni Francis, ako yung naging advisor doon. Dahil nga kailangan na yung grammatical. So ibig sabihin doon, nakita ko na yung, not just this story, but the other stories. At sinusubukan kong alalahanin ko ano nga ba yung una kong sinabi tungkol dun sa gender dynamics. Tapos kung maalala, parang may nalang, ay, wait. Pero ngayon kasi, parang, unang-una, gusto ko magpasalamat kasi wala kang presumption na alam mo nga wala kang presumption na nagsasalita ka on behalf of women. No? These women are characters, is that. Although, yun nga, lumalabas yung nagkakaroon nga ng parang weak men na archetype. Pero, and I'm wondering if how aware of this you are, at if this will factor in dun sa, especially kung ganito nga yung project na tungkol dun sa ganyang dynamics, na at may pag-aaral na kaya parang weak lumalabas yung mga lalaki sa or yung wounded men nga. Kasi nga sa isang relasyon na heteronormative, usually talagang emotionally dependent ang lalaki sa babae. At may kinalaman yun dun sa pagpapalaki, no? Kasi nga lalaki, ang babae trained or parang they talk to other women about their private life, no? Pero ang lalaki parang bawal. Kasi nga bawal maglabas ng weakness, no? Pakita ng weakness sa iba. So kaya dun sila sa partner nila, nagiging emotionally dependent. And of course, that has effects, walang hugot that has effects on the women who have to heal these wounded men. No? So for example, yung depiction kay Kevin, no? I'm wondering, for example, if isang possible solution is instead of depicting him as yung nabanggit na parang dangerous na ng dynamics na yun nga, superior siya, no? What if yun nga parang equal co-worker sila? Kung bigyan mo naman kami ng hope na posibleng nga ba ang joy sa buhay nito si Maya.
Kawawa naman si Maya.
Kasi I mean, gano'n naman eh, no? Hindi yan di kumpara, nandiyan lang siya eh. No? So parang kung sino yung stock character niya, no matter how weak, I mean, di ba, titinan mo nga yung mga sinasabi ni Mina Esguerra tungkol sa posibilidad ng romance, no, sa buhay ng mga babae. May hindi weak men, no? Ang mga katapat ng mga bidang babae. No? So, pwedeng i-rethink yun dun sa ganung aspeto. Tapos yung pagdating lang, yung question kasi po nila sa tungkol sa kung gaano pa kahaba para matapos ang kwento ito. Kasi nga, hindi naman siya necessarily kailangan humaba at maging novela. Pwede niyang choice siya ng narrative framing o narrative present. No? What if yun nga, nasa Korea na lahat, tapos may gera ng North Korea. Ganun na pala, hindi na 9/11. So what if yun nga, yung parang, what if it's really just a choice of where you want to locate that narrative present, no? So yung mga ganun lang na posibilidad.
Interesting na nabanggit si Murakami kasi nung kasabi ng Makalila Francis tapos pinapasabi nung kaibigan namin si Elephant Vanishes. Kaya sa isang banda naintindihan ko kasi nagagaling yung pa-ending ni Francis. Kasi sa Murakami, uso siya yung mga lulutang na pusa tapos magtitinginan yung dalawang bida tapos buklaw sa. Tapos malaki mag-isip kung ano yung ibig sabihin kasi mayap na kahulugan ng kwento. Malaking pagkakaiba sa, halimbawa, training namin sa Mikling Kwento na may umpisa, gitna, wakas, may resolution sa dulo. So, kaya kahit ako nun, parang akit ako kasi pwede akong bilang bibitinin ko lang, tapos malaki mag-isip. At somehow nag-work yun, pero na-call out nga na minsan baka sign siya ng hindi na deliver ang pointist na. So, si Francis naman yung mag-design. Yan. Ako yung appreciate ko, may strain na nagagaling, may strain na nakikita sa relasyon ng mga bida sa kanong mga magkapatid sa iba pa ng mga relasyon na may pag-intersect sa class. O, ano man ang estado ng kwentong ito, nakikita ko na mayaman yung possibility na diba minsan nag-aaway talaga tayo kasi wala tayong pera. Kahit na mahal mo yung tao. At kita siya sa parts ng kwento. At kahit nga yung Korean aspiration na to be fair naman kay Francis, may tanim siya. May post siyang creepy na nagpapakimchi. So may tanim naman na gano'n. At sinasuggest ko nga kay Francis na di ba nagsara yung samgyup salamat kasi may daga sa kimchi. So baka somewhere sa kwento mo pa ng device na ma-insert mo na may Korean food talaga sa Pilipinas. Since may intersection naman ng class and sexuality at relationships. Baka mapangit may Korean food. Tapos sa isang itlap may daga lang, sarado na lahat ng samgyup salamat. Somewhere baka papasok yan. Diyan. Tapos yung isang super maliit na comment lang. Maraming swapping bahagi sa pag-expose, sa exposition ng kwento ni Francis. May konting lumusot lang dun sa yung pa-reveal sa Amerika. So medyo bawas sa swapping parang, sa Amerika kung saan napunta ang ating ina. So medyo parang, medyo giveaway yun. So kasi maraming swapping, tapos parang bigla yun. hindi na naitali. So, baka somewhere sa pagpapakalit na mas wali pa ito.
When I read this, I'm sorry, but I was satisfied with it. And then I asked myself, because I was listening to everyone, why was I satisfied with it? I think I had a very simple understanding of the story. I thought the subject was the relationship of the two sisters. They have only each other. No, I mean, in their world, they have only each other. And then one cannot hold her job. The other one can. In fact, she may be promoted. Yeah. But they're parang, if only they can, as it were, love each other as sisters and support each other, then their life will be better. No? Parang I look it simply as that. No? Parang yun ang problem that story is set with. All I really wanted was, for me, when the story ended, she finally looked at the world the way their mother used to. I was surprised by that. Because how did the mothers look at the world? I don't know that. No? So, in other words, that I got puzzled by that, but I was already happy that the sisters will somehow get together. Their relationship will somehow improve, no? Because the purpose ni Kuan, the elder sister was just to have a vacation. They will have a vacation together and enjoy each other's company, and so they will be talagang mag-sisters na sila. They will relate well with each other na. Parang gano'n lang, that was my hope for them as a reader. No? I guess a very simple reader lang. No? But I wanted to know about the mama. How did she look at the world? And the trouble with that is, Janine, the younger one, does not really know the mama. She knows the mama only from her elder sister, because she was born later. Di ba? Parang 10 years difference between them or something like that. No? So, and yet Janine loves the culinary arts. That's what she wants. Therefore, that is the influence of the mama who had the carinderia. In other words, I wanted a little more tying up of that, of that part of the story. But for me, I took it on as a story of relationship with the two sisters. Although I agree with what Justice put, up the ante.
Push the stakes. Raise the stakes. Push the envelope.
Of course, if the writer takes up the challenge, the writer is headed for something better as a writer. You raise the stakes. By the way, I want to add some more. I read the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even just the first 5 paragraphs, I'm already impressed. I just read the first 5 paragraphs. That's what I call narrative skill. And that's what I mean. And that's what I mean by. What is most real is what is most imagined, and then you put that into words. That's what you are there. In the first paragraph, it's real. The reality has flesh because of the words lamp. Yeah. You know why? The words. I told him. The word language is an invention of imagination. Language and imagination are one. The word evokes an image, the image lights up the meaning. That's why you have to master the language.
Well, ang dami ng readings nung short story, no? But one thing is still unclear to me is that what is the point of the story? Parang lahat ay coming up with various recommendations which Francis can definitely explore, but at the same time, with the luxury of time, which means that you can all try plan A, plan Z, klase, and then finally discover where you're headed, where you want to head. Pero sa akin, minsan, you also need to make an executive decision, which means that you have to come with a resolve. Ano ba gusto mo sabihin sa kwento na ito? Na other than yung political statement, which means that yung insight, yun na tayo sa very basic na human insight na gusto mo sabihin dito, and work, re-engineer it backwards. I-gradate mo na, and then i-calibrate or i-plot mo na siya ng mas maayos para hindi na mag-prioritize ka na rin talaga kaninong kwento ba, best mag-reveal ng ganun klaseng insight. So, sa akin, minsan, madalas nag-work na yung gano'n na nandito na, ang dami-dami kung naipasok sa draft ng kwento at nakakapagod naman try to explore it in various ways pa. Then I just come up with an executive decision na dito na lang gusto ko muna with this round, ito yung gusto kong maging tunguhin niya na klase ng kwento. Then, saka mo makikita if it works or not na klase. But at least may clarity na hindi na kailangan mag-speculate yung readers na this is the direction or this is a point of contestation and this one will be the kind of resolve ng klase ng kwento na pinipresent ng Francis.
Higit lang, Francis, yung collection mo, meron ba sa certain age? O, tapos, paano lang nakapasok tong
Bali yung title ng story comes from a story called Men of a Certain Age. So parang, so when dinisign ko siya, initially, nandun siya sa poetics essay. Na linked stories sila, na lahat ng characters sa club stories magkakilala kasi high school classmates lang sila. So si Maya, classmates ng characters sa ibang story sila. So parang web siya. Pero nung ginagawa ko nga yung web, medyo natakot ako kasi parang ang daming connection. So parang pinit ko na lang sila sa isolated stories. No? So parang it's there because sa original design nandun talaga siya. So yun nga, parang if the story goes longer, parang which happened with the other story, baseball story na nag-start siya ng maikli lang, blissful era. Doon sa class ni Sir Butch was like 5,000 words. Tapos nung natapos yung class, with all of the comments, I started rewriting it, and then yung version niya nasa 17,000 words.
Lahat yung nobela yun.
Hindi ko na anong nangyayari sa kwento. To the point na iniisip ko, baka nobela na lang.
Yun ang susunod ko po ito eh. Mas gusto ko tawagin short story writer o novelist. Kasi nandyan ka na rin lang eh.
Diba? Pwede mo palang i-novel yun.
Dali novel actually.
Actually, yun nga, yun naman yung aspiration, sir. Na parang sabi nga ni Sir Butch madalas, no, na parang hindi bumibenta yung short story internationally, no? So kung gusto natin magkatatak, overseas, novela. So yun naman yung aspiration, no? So may parang kung may aspiration yung magkapatid na mag-Korea, may aspiration na mag-novela. No? So,
wow, galing!
It's all moving towards that. But I just need to figure this out.
Pwedeng chapters na lang siya eh. Hindi novel na.
Maganda nga nga rin yun, pero ang nobela naman hindi rin, may kwento na hindi alam ko sa pupunta.
Back to you.
Kaya, dire-diretso na yung sa akin. Sino pa ang may question na question Charles?
Itong, since you're, yung mga suggestions, you might also consider, at this is a bit radical yung change. Imbis na 9/11 yung premise, na lang ending doon sila pupunta. One of them is actually flying to window on the world to work.
Daming immigrants doon.
Actually, napunta pa yung window on the world minsan. Pero, ang kwento dyan, kami mga Pinoy, sumakay na kami sa elevator, nakarating sa taas,
Windows open yan.
parang may tagdi doon, pinitutin namin agad pababa. Kaya parang, parang sanay na siya sa mga Pinoy na
naliligaw.
Sisilip lang.
I have a feeling na yung dahil puro pagkain yung pinag-usapan natin, mga restaurant, na yung galing ni Janine sa pagluluto, yung po na manas na yung nangyari sa Korea. Mukhang pagluluto yung kahantungan dito.
Tama yan, bro. Alam mo, lahat ng mga connection ito, dapat they should meet on a subliminal level. Subconscious mo na ang mag-apit yun eh. Tutulak yan. Isang alas 3 ng umaga, makikita mo yung the way forward sa kwento na to. Kasi pagka inisip mo lahat, rationally, dahil pupuntahan yun. Yes.
Remember that very brilliant story with a very long title?
Right. Children on an April afternoon of the year.
I was wondering, Francis, pwede rin yung ganyan na they have these problems, they're trapped, diba? And then they're looking forward to a future that is, they assume is going to be brighter. And then we flash forward. That all of these different stories, puro tragic naman na nangyayari. That's one of his most powerful stories.
Yes, but I'm glad you brought that up, Jane, because dapat talaga pag-aralan ng lahat ng seryosong gusto magsulat ng kwento. Because that's a truly high-risk story for me, kasi talaga inipiling na ni Greg hanggang dulo. Hindi mo alam kung paano niya isasaktan niya. And then when you get there, it's chilling. To be able to flash forward into the future. Kaya technically, toward the course of yung kwento na yun, that's a kind of risk that I would love for people to take, but it also requires absolute control and mastery of material. Yes.
I think he was ready to take that risk because the story probably came out of an idea rather than a story or a character. What for me unifies everything in that story is really that theological question of how bearable life would be if we don't believe in God, if there is no God, and how believing in God actually makes even these things that are unbearable bearable. Because that's what happens, right? No, it's there's a man who's reading Bertrand Russell and has become an atheist. Logical possibilities.
Even you see him in love, Dr. Lazaro.
No. This is a Christ of children. And then in the end, all the people that because this is happening in Tarlac one afternoon, and then he is surrounded by relatives, the young nephews and nieces were there, and then that this boy is actually already alienated from everyone there because he's not a believer anymore. Yes, because now that's the only way to make it bearable. That's the only way to make it bearable, because what's going to happen, the story passes forward, and all these beautiful, vibrant, hopeful people all meet bad fates, all of them. And then the date is so crucial there. It's martial law when he regains his faith, because it's a dark time in Philippine history and he needs to hold on to something. So for me, okay, it's interesting in terms of plotting, right? But it's really what kept the story from spilling all over the place and becoming disorganized. It's really that concept, which I think is probably the heart of the story.
I don't think we agree on the ending. We're different. We think the story ended up with a different one.
No, of course it goes further. Yes, that's it.
So how does this Saberman becomes a believer and he's now going to kill another man? Please go to hell. He's a believer.
Well, maybe it's still more valuable than there being no God.
Usapang yung estilo.
Parang okay, well, it's still worth believing. So parang gano'n. Rather than nothing. Anyway, it's a Catholic writer's story, so it feels like a Catholic story.
But Don, may sasabihin ka rin.
I don't want to add to the Catholic.
Francis Lima, meron ka bang, you want to respond?
Thank you, everyone. Maraming salamat sa mga comments. They're very illuminating, no? And I think I see a way forward, no? First of all, it never occurred to me that I can choose one of the sisters to be the main protagonist, no? Kasi I always treated it as two of them, no? So parati siyang two-hander, no? In my head, it's always been the two of them. And so I think moving forward, si Maya yung magiging point of view character. Sir Neil there. One of the things that I want to address was the repeated comment about the weak men in the story. Actually, if you read my first book, it's a book about weak men. No? So, parang someone came up to me before and said, parang ang weak lang ng main characters. And sabi ko, okay, thank you, kasi almost autobiographical lahat ng kwento sa first book. No? So, I guess I am one of those weak men. Gabby does not agree.
Masungit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a story na, admittedly, no, is trying to do a lot of things. And if I'm being honest, no, it began with the idea of, paano kung may namatay nanay ng dalawang sisters in the World Trade Center attacks? Yun lang yung idea. No? And because that moment is so big globally, pero dito sa Pilipinas, you don't see it. No? Parang America, even India, no, has 9/11 fiction, pero parang sa Pilipinas wala. When marami ng Pilipino na namatay that day. No? So I really wanted to kind of touch on that. No? But I guess that got lost, no, when I was really working na the scenes of the story. No? And yun nga, nag-revert ako dun sa, ay may romance dapat. And then yun nga. So, yeah, so thank you very much for the comments. I'll definitely work on this and input many of the suggestions. Thank you.
Okay, that brings to a close today's sessions. We have a dying announcement, but that's a workshop of the techniques.
Okay, so we proceed to consultations, although I think kanina a number of people are already consulting. But again, please feel free to consult with the panelists and maximize and take advantage of the opportunities. Kahit hindi kayo nag-sign up formally, if just approach the panelists. okay, that you would like to consult your work with, please do. Otherwise, dinner will be served around mga 6 siguro will text. But dinner this time will, or from here on, will be served sa baba sa restaurant. So hindi na siya dito sa function room. So with that, again, we would like to remind you to follow our Twitter account, promote the Twitter account, share the live sessions that are posted on the Likaan Facebook page, and of course, always hashtag 58UPNWW or hashtag UPNWW2019. Share and follow then our blog, panitikan.ph/UPNWW2019. Thank you very much, and congratulations on the first day of our workshop for power.
Please, nagtanong na kita para sa Friday test. Ano bang